Spoilers ahead.
Hello everybody and welcome to Cinemattraction. I'm Heat Guy Jay and this is bad to the bone, John. He's wearing a snapback and a suit like it's draft day today, aren't you?
What else would I be dressed in?
Exactly.
Sweet Baby Ray's. In this episode, we'll be discussing Barbarella from 1968 and The Omen from 1976. So, Heat Guy Jay, what have you been watching?
I have been watching. I've been watching a Netflix series which is called. I think it's South Korean series called Physical 100, and it seems quite boring when it starts because like my mum had watched it and she said to me, have you watched it? And I was like, no, but I've seen like the trailer for it. Yeah. And it's all these really healthy, fit athletes from all sorts of, all sorts of areas. Like there's a YouTube exercise guru, there's a Olympic cyclist.
Okay.
Is
this a real life thing? Or
this is a real life. No, this is a real life.
Right.
Thing.
I thought this was like Squid Game.
No,
or
this
something.
This is a real This is a real thing they're doing. A real game.
Okay.
There's like a Korean rugby player. There's a Caucasian. Right. This is the impressive one. There's a Caucasian American guy on there that plays for a Korean baseball team.
Okay.
And there's like MMA fighters and all this sort of thing. And what they're basically trying to do is see, out of all these different tasks that they do, does it matter whether you've got the biggest muscular body or whether you've got like...
Well, surely each task is going to be different.
Well, exactly. Like you've got this wrestler on there where he's not muscular, but he's got a lot of strength. Like I said, my strength is through actually being strong rather than the gym, rather than lifting weights.
Okay.
I'm just,
strong man.
There's one task where they've got to push a 1.5 ton ship.
What?
Like in this sandy area, they've got this old like galleon looking thing, and they've got to push it. They've got to roll it and push it over like these logs.
Like Fitzcarraldo.
Kind of, yeah. It's so weird. Some of the things. I watched that, and I also watched a film with Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill in called You People. Right. It's like a sort of 21st...
Is that the one with the CGI kiss at the end?
That's right.
I've seen
because Jonah Hill is not fit to kiss Lauren London, but Eddie Murphy, the Murphster,
yes, gorgeous,
like a waxwork now, like Chris Rock.
Is he utilised well?
Yes, he's like a waxwork.
Does he play 80 different characters?
No, he plays one aggressive, like, Muslim character.
Right.
So...
Careful.
Yeah.
It's going to get typecast, I think.
But he's brilliant in it. He's really good. I mean, Jonah Hill's good in it as well.
Yeah,
they're all very good in it.
Yeah,
but it's like a 21st version of... A 21st century version of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner sort of type thing.
Fine. I mean, so... Eddie Murphy's the dad.
Yes, he's like the militant sort of like, why is my daughter going out with this awful hairy white guy? Have you been watching anything?
Oscar rubbish.
Okay.
Oscar rubbish. I haven't been impressed with any of the Oscar movies ever.
Right.
Because it's the Oscars coming up.
Oh yes, you watched the multiverse.
Oh yeah. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's it.
I didn't care for that. I get it. It's fine. I think the performances are really good. It's just not my cup of tea.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
I saw The Whale.
He wasn't impressed with that either, with 3 stars.
No, I wasn't impressed with that.
No,
it's actually not what I thought it was going to be. It's apparently based on a play, or an adaptation of some play.
Okay.
And it feels like a play. Everything's not everything, but like the vast majority of it is sort of set in this one room. Because obviously
you can always tell when they're based on a play, like Glenn Ross. It feels very...
Really well acted across the board. And Brendan Fraser's going to get an Oscar.
Right, okay.
But it's called The Whale. It's like Jonah in The Whale.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
I saw Elvis. I did not care for Elvis at all. I understand.
You could understand why I liked it, though.
I thoroughly understand why you liked it. It is what it is.
With Aaron Butler?
With Aaron Butler, who is a good shout for an Oscar.
He's not Austin, is he? He's supposed to be Austin Butler, isn't he?
It's Austin Butler, yeah. It could be between... what's his name? Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler. But for me, it's Brendan Fraser. Right. For me personally... Yeah. It's Colin Farrell in Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, he was great in that, wasn't he?
but I don't think
I
it's going to
love
happen.
doing
What else have I watched? I watched A Knock at the Cabin, which is M. Night Shyamalan's latest.
Yes.
I loved it.
Did you really?
I thought it was so much fun.
Oh, did it have a twist?
It's twisting.
Right.
And...
is it disappointing like most M. Night Shyamalan endings?
Well, not really, no. It's a film about purity.
Right.
Yeah?
Oh, I wouldn't like that then.
Okay.
I'm one of the most unholy people you know.
But, well, we're getting into one of these films is certainly unholy. But Dave Bautista is excellent. He's a really good actor, and he's really, really, really good in this
I
film.
really like Dave Bautista. I liked him as a wrestler. I've seen interviews with him, and he seems like a real sort of nice, sweet guy.
I think he should do more of these films, personally.
Okay.
Because he's got actual range. It's not like...
You should write him a letter.
He's at the house right now, I'll call him up. Because it's The Rock, isn't it? The Rock gets all of the attention, maybe.
Of course he does,
Dave Bautista's got... I mean, The Rock is The Rock in everything. He doesn't have any range whatsoever.
The weirdest thing is, though, he plays some kind of priest in this, doesn't he? Or sort of...
He plays a fella called Leonard who has a funny...
Like a pastor sort of thing? Is he?
I don't want to get into what it is because I don't want to... Because it's
all
all
I
about the
all I wanna
revelations
say
in
is
the
when
M.
he
Night
first
Shyamalan
started in the
movie. I don't wanna-
WWE
although I have started this thing with spoilers.
Right.
So...
When he started in the
not for that
WWE,
movie.
he was actually called Deacon Batista, and he used to come out with a Bible.
Did he?
Yeah, and
didn't know
when I
that.
watched the trailer, I kind of
Is he,
thought, is this coming full circle sort of thing?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
There's no...
Okay.
there's no reference to his
No.
Deacon Batista.
Deacon
in
Batista.
this.
He used to be called Deacon Batista.
But
anyway.
it's very good. And I've been playing GoldenEye remaster.
Yes, you have. Yes.
And I've been playing the Metroid Prime
Right.
remaster.
I bet you've been enjoying them.
Oh, they're so good.
No, I can't get them on the PS4.
If you're old like us, I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely.
Barbarella is a 1968 sci-fi adventure film directed by Roger Vadim, based on the comic book series of the same name, starring Jane Fonda, John Philip Law, Anita Pallenberg, Marcel Marceau, David Hemmings, among others. Oh, okay. So set in the future, space peacekeeper Barbarella, I need to get more enthusiasm, I'm so sorry, is tasked by Earth's president...
French president.
Well, he's Earth's president, isn't
He's
he?
French.
Sure. To retrieve scientist Duran from a planet named Tau Ceti or Ceti, whatever it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. You could pretty much...
You could put in
That's
anything,
the
couldn't you?
response to this film.
Yeah,
in
it
my
could
opinion.
be in blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Duran has invented a laser weapon, the positronic ray. I need to get more enthusiastic. I'm so sorry, listeners. I just did not connect with this one at all. Which is likely to cause all manner of destruction. Barbarella crash lands on a planet and is rescued by some naughty kids where they tie her up and attack her with dolls. It's literally my favourite part of the whole movie.
What, the creepy dolls?
The mechanical dolls.
Oh,
with
that
the
was
teeth.
horrible. I hated that bit.
Barbarella is saved by a staggeringly hairy man named
Mark Hand.
Mark Hand.
Mark Hand.
Who asks for payment of the carnal gratification kind. Barbarella isn't used to that, as those acts have been sort of more or less replaced by pills back on Earth, I guess. Civilized Earth. This is basically the narrative for the rest of the film. Barbarella travels to one place and kind of exchanges help for gratification until she winds up in the company of Duran, who tries to use an energy lava stuff, I guess, called the Mathmos, right?
Yes.
As well as a gratification machine.
Oh, I was going to mention that.
That Barbarella manages to outlast, I guess. Yeah.
And then it goes. He uses his organ.
Yes.
On
it's like
her
an
organ.
Yes, that's a good. Yeah, because it does look like an organ, doesn't it? Yeah. Barbarella's purity essentially sort of saves her from that stuff. A little bit of backstory. Not the happiest of shoots by all accounts. The director Vadim and Jane Fonda were a couple at the time.
Okay.
Of the shooting. Vadim sunk into heavy alcoholism, apparently, and Jane Fonda struggled with an eating disorder. So, yeah.
Well, it wouldn't surprise
times.
me that he ended up in alcoholism making a film like this.
Indeed. Very tongue-in-cheek, daft, breezy, whimsical, and campy tale of corruption, tyranny, excess, innocence, gratification, and liberation. A peaceful alien entering a hostile, carnal world in which toxic masculinity reigns, in which she enjoys or experiences an awakening of sorts. So what the hell do you have to say about
The
Barbarella?
math moth stuff makes the people evil, though, doesn't it? That
It's
they're
like
living under.
Yeah, because it's sort of the Mathmos stuff is sort of bubbling underneath.
Yeah, isn't it a bit like the goo in Ghostbusters 2? That's kind of bringing out
pervasive.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's a pervasive force, isn't it?
Yeah, that's sort of bringing out the
because
evil
it does
in people.
wind
isn't
up
it?
sort of protecting them, doesn't it?
Yeah,
at the
it's
end.
sort of bringing out the evil and sexuality.
Yes.
Almost saying that being overly sexual or overtly sexual is an evil thing in some ways, maybe.
But it isn't, though, because I
No,
think...
of course it's not.
Well, I mean, generally
It's a natural thing, but...
Sure, but at the same time, Barbarella kind of does grow as a consequence of having these experiences, no?
Yes, I think she does. She's less naive, I suppose.
Enormously naive at the beginning.
I think this is not the sort of movie you should watch stone sober. Definitely not.
Well, like I did.
Well, it's like I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should definitely have something, a few drinks.
I watched this at
something
6 a.m. last Sunday.
Or a whole bottle of whiskey, perhaps, and settle in with this film.
Yeah. I woke up with this movie last Sunday.
Okay.
And
it ruined your whole day. You're like, this is the start of my
mindset. It put me into a mindset. I don't even think I logged it. You
didn't
I
log
don't think
it.
I logged it at all.
No, because I didn't see
could
you
not
log
be-
it, and I was thinking, oh, John must have loved that.
No.
I bet it was 5 stars.
No, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad film by any stretch. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, to me, when I mentioned this to my mum, she turned around and she said, this was your grandfather's favourite.
Really?
So her father's favourite.
Right.
And I went, well, of course it was. My grandfather was known as being quite a philanderer.
I've heard
And
stories of his philandering.
Yes, and he did love the ladies, and the
can
film is
understand
titillation, isn't it?
Oh, it's pure.
I mean, so no wonder my
God.
grandfather loved it. I don't blame him for that.
Yeah. Vadim and... Again, I presume it's pronounced Vadim. Right. Vadim and Fonda were together.
Right.
Vadim's such a cuck.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a campy, psychedelic, sci-fi sex romp, really, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, adventure.
Sort of-
Yeah, adventure.
And it doesn't really make an awful lot of sense, does it?
Well, I mean...
You know, Barbarella, things get weird when Barbarella crashes on the planet and the kids strap her to skis.
Yeah.
And this weird
Hairy
like
man.
stingray pulls her along.
Sure.
And then she's saved obviously by Mark Hamill, the man in the hairy suit. He killed like a
But he
Wookiee.
takes off the hairy suit and he's all hairy underneath.
Yeah, I know he is. He's hair on hair, isn't it?
Huh?
He like scalped a Wookiee, didn't he?
Huh?
You know?
Scalped a Wookiee?
Yeah.
I love that sequence, not only because it's the best sequence, and I
Yeah.
love the creepy dolls with the teeth and
Yes.
the mechanical.
It is the best bit of the film.
But it kind of works also like that corruption, that innocence losing, that loss
Yeah,
of
I suppose,
innocence
'cause
and
they're
corruption,
kids, aren't
they're
they?
kids,
And
and you kind of associate
corrupted
dolls.
the dolls.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
corrupt. I get it.
Yeah.
I think I get it anyway.
Okay.
And I appreciate it.
She crashes again because he fixed her ship not very well,
No.
and she crashes again. And then she crashes into this labyrinthine place where she meets Pygar, the angel.
Yeah.
That's when I thought things
Pygar
would get-
kind of like rescues her as well. Doesn't he?
Yeah. I thought he
And
was
the
really
Dark
out of
Queen.
place in the film. I don't know what you thought. He seemed like
Sure.
he should be in like a sort of a Greek sort of like.
I think that's the point, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah,
Isn't it?
kind of
Okay.
sort of more like he should
it's
be
an
in
alien
something like
world.
Clash of the Titans or something. You know,
Sure. You could probably say that about any of these characters, to be fair.
probably. Yeah, except Duran Duran.
Except around
Which did we know that the '80s pop band named themselves after?
I
after his
presume
character?
that's the case. If
They
it's
did.
coincidental,
No, they did.
Okay.
A different, but his name is actually Durand.
Durand, yeah.
Yeah, Duran
sure,
Durand.
Yeah.
But,
What do you, I love some of the sets in this film.
right.
I love the I love Duran Lair.
I love his outfit.
I love his outfit.
His outfit with the weird, funny thing that sticks out and gives him this weird
Sure.
stomach thing. it like makes him look like he's fat.
He looks like he's wearing a fat suit.
But yeah, but he's
Sure.
not. It's quite a strange sort of angular,
Yeah.
and he looks really done up
do
as
like the
well, like
costumes
he's
in
the
this.
mayor or
Yeah.
something. You know.
We could talk about the costumes.
Official.
I love
Yes.
the costumes. I think the
Oh,
costumes
there's a
are great.
lot of costume changes for Barbarella, isn't there?
Yeah, she
I
wears
think I
nothing
counted about
in the-
5 or 6, probably.
Right. She usually wears nothing in
Yeah.
the film, but the costumes in which she wear are so groovy.
Yes, they are. They are.
very kitschy. Duran Duran's lair is probably my favourite set. The lad in the tiny little water bubble.
Oh yes.
The ladies.
I quite like the
scantily clad ladies smoking.
What was the name
cushions.
What was the name of the villain? I can't remember what her name was. You know where she goes,
Dark Queen.
Yeah, mate,
who
pretty.
Who emerges from Pearl. Anita Pallenberg.
Right.
She's great.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Yeah.
And I loved the way she was dressed in it. And I must admit, I was watching it sort of thinking to myself, ooh,
well,
you know.
Yeah, if
I wouldn't mind if she came to my boudoir.
Oh, God. Yeah, Anita Pallenberg's great. And
Yeah, she was.
Really
I was glad she lived in it. I was glad
Sure.
Pygar grabbed both her and
She has a
Barbarella.
kind of a, yeah,
Ella.
has a kind of redemption in a way. Because
Yes.
she's sort of, love Marcel Marceau. And his Land of Exiles, I suppose, is really interesting.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
The mime-eyed?
The mime guy, yeah.
He
That's
was the
Marcel
one who
Marceau.
was the doctor?
He was the grey old man.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
It's... but the Land of Exiles is probably the most interesting thing
Right.
with those people that are sort of transparent.
I didn't know he'd been in any films, Marcel Marceau.
Well, he's in this one. Isn't he?
Oh, okay. I just known him to be a mime artist.
Mime, yeah. The transparent people and the people sort of cast off, the outcasts, I guess, they're
Yeah.
kind of built into the rocks.
I thought
guess.
some of the special effects weren't too bad for the
I
age
thought
of
they
the
were
film.
terrible.
Okay. Were they not good for the age of the film?
Yeah, they might be great. Yeah.
You know, like the bit where you saw through one person
Yeah.
with a green screen, he sort of...
Very clever.
I
really
thought that
good.
was clever for the time. I mean, it
clever
looks garbage by today's standard, but I mean...
Yeah, and the weird psychedelic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Well, I'm struggling to
Do you
find
think
positives.
there is an audience by today's standard that would say, like there's people like me and you that like older films, much older films that we really adore. Do you think there is
I only watch
an
old
audience for this particular film that absolutely adore this film?
Yeah.
And if there's a 40 or 50-year-old anniversary edition of Barbarella comes out.
Yeah, I suspect. Yeah, I mean, it's a cult film at this point, isn't it? And it will have a following.
Because I find it really hard that people would have really any interest in this film.
Yeah. I think I understand what it's going for. I appreciate some elements of it, but it's just not for
I don't think
me.
there's anything you can really take away from it, though, is there? That you can and then come back and go.
Yeah, it's a story of liberation, I think.
But you're not really going to take anything again when you go back to
No,
it.
I wouldn't want to rewatch this
No.
again. I think I saw this film for the first time during the lockdown.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
film of
God.
its time, really, isn't it?
It's a bit of a thing of its era. But actually, I really, really like the 60s kind of dreamy pop score.
Right.
What do you think of that?
It was okay.
There are some nice sort of 60s bubblegum pop moments in this I thought were quite cool. We mixed with these
I
kind of
actually
weird
thought it was-
sci-fi stings.
I
and all
thought
that
it was
kind
going
of
to be better than it was because it's. I'd never seen it before, and
Okay.
I thought it was it was one of these classic films that I'd never got around to seeing, and I just thought, well, this is. I think this is going to be good because it's a
cult film.
Cult
yeah.
film.
It's got a following.
I was
for
very
sure.
disappointed with the lack of story.
The lack of something to really
Anything?
bite on.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think of the characters and performances in the film? I thought Jane Fonda was okay. I think she knows exactly what type of film that she's in. And
I think
she
any
plays
actress
it well,
could have done
I
that
think.
film. Unfortunately,
Oh,
any really attractive actress could have really done that film. I reckon. Don't you?
I can't think. Yeah, maybe I can't think of another actress that could have done this. To be fair,
Right.
Catherine Deneuve, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a blend of naivety, as I think you said,
Yeah.
and innocence, and a bit of power
Yeah.
to her as well.
Like especially like even with Pygar, he's very innocent, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really innocent.
She's in this kind of toxic masculine world,
Yeah.
but she doesn't really, and she enjoys these carnal gratification moments, but she doesn't really get involved in the power dynamics that kind of come. Not necessarily. So I think she did. She doesn't really lean into the power dynamics that come with this.
I don't think she's
with
really
this
interested in the
world.
politics of the world,
No,
is she? Really?
I think she kind of navigates.
She's just on a
it quite
mission,
well.
isn't she?
I think she navigates
Yeah.
those aspects quite well. Is it Milo O'Shea's nefarious mustache twirling scumbag? Duran Duran, I love him.
I thought he was amazing.
He's the best.
He really was. He really was a classic villain, wasn't he?
Indeed.
He really was great. And I like the fact he was supposed to be in his 20s.
Oh God.
It's like he'd aged because of
that pervasive
mathmos stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he looked like in the end he looked like a 45, 50-year-old man.
It's corrupted him and it's aged him. It's a fun, silly, groovy, colourful, and very, very saucy adventure. It's not my cup of tea, I'm afraid.
No, it's not mine either.
Verdict, thoughts? What do you reckon?
I think it's the sort of film that if you're interested in films and you know of classic cult films, you are going to want to watch it because you're going to want to know what is the hoo-ha about it.
Yeah, you certainly see Jane Fonda's hoo-ha in this.
and you've also got to remember that back probably when it was released, in cinemas, you could re-watch films, couldn't you?
Sure.
So some dirty old man like my grandfather could have sat in the cinema and just re-watched that film all day long.
I went to HMV with a friend this morning. I met up with a friend this morning. I went to HMV and just perusing the things. And by the World Cinema section, the creepiest dirty old man was perusing the Pink Igar,
right?
Which are the Japanese naughty films.
Yes.
And I thought, you dirty old man. I kept thinking of this movie in relation to him. What would you recommend for that? I think Flash Gordon.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say Flash Gordon. Logan's Run, perhaps.
Logan's Run is good.
But
Emmanuel, maybe.
But
Emmanuel, Silver Crystal.
Yes, yeah, probably of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Logan's Run is going to have a lot more. You're going to take a lot more from Logan's Run.
It's
got
Logan's
the campy thing, the campy sci-fi thing.
Logan's Run is great.
Yeah, but it's definitely got a much better story.
Well, it's got a story.
Yeah. But also the campy thing, like the Flash Gordon, has got that same campy sort of vibe about it, but then again it's still got a half decent story, and Max von Sydow puts in a fantastic performance as Ming, so although a very controversial performance now because it's
it's chap in yellow face. God rest Max von Sydow though, he was a great actor.
These are things we never thought about when we were watching these films as children, were they?
No,
you know, there's so many things now that you watch.
Have you seen Breakfast at Tiffany's?
No, I haven't.
Mickey Rooney plays
does he?
It's a really good movie, but it's Mickey Rooney plays the most stereotypical chap in yellow face, basically, and it's horrific. Yeah, if you listeners expecting a really in-depth discussion about this, we've got nothing really to say about it, I'm afraid. Devil be damned, though. The Omen is a 1976 supernatural horror from Richard Donner, starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner. I love David Warner. Harvey Spencer Stevens, Billy Whitelaw, Patrick Troughton, among others. A critical and box office success, taking $60 million from a $3 million budget. That's not bad, is it? The film would spawn 3 sequels and a 2006 remake, and would win Jerry Goldsmith the Oscar for his excellent score. We follow US diplomat Robert Thorne, who lives in Rome with his beautiful wife Kathy. When their child is stillborn, the hospital priest suggests to Robert that they adopt a baby whose mother has just died. When Robert sort of casually accepts, he should be grieving. And Kathy is actually sadly none the wiser of what he's been up to. They name the baby Damien. Robert earns a new job as the royal ambassador, and their family upsticks to the United Kingdom. Everything is all hunky-dory until Damien, or mostly hunky-dory until Damien is around 5 years old, where Damien exhibits some odd behaviours and some strange occurrences occur. Following a very, very public hanging of Damien's nanny, the mysterious Mrs. Baylock enters the scene and becomes this kind of... we'll talk about her in a moment. The local priest confides with Robert that Damien is the son of Satan. A birthmark found on Damien's neck, or back, whatever it is, would reveal the lad's destiny, and Robert winds up being killed by the filth while en route to a cathedral, or hallowed ground, right? With Damien, everybody except Damien dies horribly, and the thing ends with Damien shooting a creepy smile to the camera at his adoptive parents' funeral. What do you think of The Omen?
I thought it was rubbish.
Right,
can I tell you, I don't know if you know this, Damien is Gaelic for demon.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay. As a hibernophile, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay,
I know this because that was my given name.
Oh no.
That was my given name when I was born.
I was aware of this.
Yes.
I was aware that you didn't.
So I had to carry this goddamn awful name with me for years until I was about 17.
Right, but you would have grown into the name, though.
No, I probably would have grown. Do you know what really irritated me is there are so many characters from horror films like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and that.
Yeah.
You never hear anybody go, "Oh, your name's Michael," like Michael Myers. But you hear,
Yes, actually.
whenever you say Damien,
you think, oh,
yeah,
the Omen.
I mean, if somebody says, "Oh, hello, my name's Annabelle," nobody goes, "Oh, what you do? I hope you're not like the doll."
I don't know. I think you probably get that
No, I
nowadays.
don't think so.
No?
I don't think people do.
Okay.
But Damien, because it's such a sort of rare name, it's not a very commonplace name, that people used to always go on and on and on to me about, "Oh, I hope you're not like Damien from The Omen."
You are, though.
I know I am. And my mum actually named me Damien because she'd watched a film with a character called Damien. It was a romantic type film.
Oh, okay.
And she liked the
You
name.
see many famous Damiens, do you?
There's Damien Lewis.
Oh, of course.
Yes, there's
You
Damien
just listed one right there.
Yeah, there's the famous one.
Sure.
I don't think there's any. There's Damien Bashir,
Okay. Sure.
isn't it?
He's famous.
His wife died mysteriously, didn't she?
Matt Damien?
Matt Damien. So I had a grudge against this movie from the beginning because...
Okay, because of the association with your...
I didn't watch this film,
your
though, with a
past name,
grudge.
your
I didn't
past
watch this
identity.
film with a grudge, though.
No.
I watched this film just as a film that I had never seen, that I'd heard about, and I thought, oh, it's about time I see it.
Sure. It's good.
I didn't think much of it.
Okay.
I found the performances lackluster.
Really? I'd agree on Lee Remick.
Lee Remick was terrible,
think he's kind of
considering
wasted in
she's
this.
such a great actress.
She's
or was
fantastic actor.
Yeah.
You didn't like Gregory
I didn't
Peck?
think Gregory Peck was particularly good. I know he's
Okay.
been better than that.
He's one of the great actors.
Yeah, but he's been so much better
He's
than
been
that.
way better than this.
I mean, I think we'll
But
find when we watch one with...
we're going to be watching To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, I think we'll find that
Which I picked up the Blu-ray for today.
Did you?
At HMV, so I'll be able to...
Oh,
yeah.
I look forward to seeing that then.
Indeed.
Yes. I've never seen it before, but I've heard it's
Just
one of the...
carrying out future episodes.
I thought the best performance, I'm going to be honest, was David Warner.
Love David
as
Warner.
the photographer.
With great respect, I love David Warner.
What have I seen him in? I've seen him in loads
Everything.
of things,
He's
haven't
been
I?
in millions of things.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Love
Because as
David
soon as
Warner.
I saw him, I thought, I've seen you in so many things.
Yeah.
I thought he was brilliant in it. I thought he was really good. And I liked the fact that he sort of figured out that the way people were going to die through the marks on the photos. I didn't like the priest who kept following Gregory Peck about.
Oh, okay. I thought he was really good.
And I was a little bit...
Father Brennan.
He was
Brennan.
like kicking Father Brennan in the arse.
I was hoping you were going to say that. It's actually Bishop Brennan in Father
Oh, Bishop
Ted.
Brennan, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Bishop Brennan.
I just found him too dramatic. Like
Anybody out of the UK is not going to understand by all means, please YouTube Father Ted or find it somewhere.
yes, Father Ted.
It is the thing on.
It really is.
Oh,
it is
God,
the
I love it
funniest
so
sitcom you've ever seen. It really is fantastic.
Sorry, you were saying.
He was just so dramatic. No wonder Gregory Peck was just being flamboyant with it. Because he's like sitting there. I've got something to tell you. I'm going to tell you a little Bible quote, and then I'm going to tell you that your son is the devil's child. And Gregory Peck's like, I'm an ambassador to London, to the UK.
Yes.
Get the hell out of here. You're being weird.
Op it, son.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps he could have come to him in a different way that, there's something very wrong with your child and we need to talk, rather than just go, it's the devil. But then again, I think this film feeds off the fear of the devil.
Sure, the satanic panic kind of stuff.
Yes, it definitely feeds off that because...
while we're on performances, what did you think of Harvey Spencer-Stevens as Damien?
I thought he was all right.
I think it was really good casting.
Yeah, I think he was all right. I think he was... I would like to see more of him.
I could believe him as being the son of Satan.
Yes, I could see him as being a little,
yes.
a little arse.
I've got to say, I do disagree with... I think Gregory Peck is actually really, really strong in the central role. Okay. He has that presence and he has that voice, which really lends that authority. And I think his groundedness... Because it's a really, really, really silly film.
It is silly, yeah.
Really silly. But I think his groundedness, and I think also the atmosphere that it kind of builds,
I think it
does
definitely,
kind of
I think
balance.
it definitely leaves impressions on people, because I saw one little scene of this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't see much.
Was it
because
the hanging scene?
No.
Okay.
It was the scene with David Warner getting his head cut off with the sheet of glass.
Yeah.
And I could still remember that scene. And even when I spoke to my mum about
When
this
did you
film,
first see this? Was this your first viewing?
this was my first proper viewing.
Right.
I mean, I saw clips of it when I was a kid, but not. That really made an impression on me, and the same scene made an impression on my mum, because she has seen the film before, and she turned around and she said, "Oh yeah, the scene where the guy gets his, decapitated with the sheet of glass," and she said, "See, I haven't seen that film for probably about 30 years,
right?
But I remember, so there are iconic
resonating images,
moments of the film that are going to stay with you.
There are some really, really good.
Now, can we just talk about something? Because there was a confusion. The priest who died when he got the
Father Brennan gets a metallic spire thingy.
Spire thing comes down and speared halfway through his body
during a storm. Yeah, you didn't like that?
I thought that was a good effect.
It's awesome.
I thought it was good.
Did they not replicate that scene with what's his name, Adam Buxton in Hot Fuzz?
They do.
Yeah.
Kind of, don't they? Yes, they do kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
When he was having his autopsy and stuff, they said they found 666 on his thigh.
Oh, yeah.
On his thigh. So why did he have 666 on him?
Oh, I don't know.
And I was also confused why, if the priest that convinced Gregory Peck to take the child knew that his mother was an animal. A jackal, right. Yeah. He must have known that. Because he said the mother died, so he must have known.
Yeah, it's like.
Was he a Satanist in the guise of a priest?
Sure.
And if he was, why did he end up in that commune at the end with the rest of the priests?
Sure.
If he was a Satanist, because I can imagine not wanting to be around those kind of people if you were not rooting for their team.
You got to know your enemy, haven't you?
Well, let's put it this way: that would be my kind of nightmare, to end up in that kind of place.
Some suspension of disbelief is required. It's a very, very, very silly film, but once you're on board, I feel it does come together fairly well. Do you find it kind of funny? Because Richard Donner made this film about an otherworldly, powerful boy.
And he did Superman 78.
And then he immediately made Superman, which is about an otherworldly, powerful person. Boy.
And one of them is about the Antichrist, and the other one is almost
is basically Jesus.
Basically Jesus, like
Super
Space
Jesus.
Yes,
Space Jesus.
He's
Richard Donner's the man.
His body of work is so different, though, isn't it? I mean, you go from The Omen to Lethal Weapon, the same director.
Well, he went from The Omen to Superman.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that when you look at his body of work, they're not always similar, are they?
Yeah. This was made following the successes of The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and Jaws. There was a spell in the sort of 70s where studios would put out this kind of expensive blockbuster horror, and they don't really do that nowadays.
See, I really liked Rosemary's Baby over this.
Rosemary's Baby is a classic. Yeah.
And I've really found Rosemary's Baby...
I think we should have done this and Rosemary's Baby.
I think so.
Together.
Because I think Rosemary's Baby has, even though it was obviously Omen was made much later.
Yes.
But I think Rosemary's Baby...
I suspect it was Rosemary's
has
Baby
more
that
of the...
this.
Yeah, has more... I don't know, more... It's more sinister.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think the fact you don't even see the child in Rosemary's Baby also adds to the... Because your mind fills in like, oh my God, what is in that pram at the end?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad they didn't show the baby because it leaves it to,
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Roman Polanski as a human being, but Rosemary's Baby is one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. I think this is a nice little effective kind of atmospheric taut chiller.
I think apart from its silliness, I think it goes a bit overboard.
I don't have a problem with the silliness.
You see, the thing is, with the Satanism in Rosemary's Baby, it's very quiet.
Sure.
Until the end.
I suppose you do need to... Because this was made, I think, as a consequence of the successes of The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and certainly Jaws, you kind of need to comparatively look at that.
But I think with the silliness and the over stuff about the devil,
so
I think if they kept the devil stuff quieter until the end...
Sure.
I think it could have been much more powerful.
Sure, in which case I would agree. Yeah. Comparatively, because like I just said, you have to kind of view this in the context of
these were the films that were
with
coming
Exorcist
out.
and certainly Rosemary's Baby. That's the thing. I don't know anything about Satanism. I don't know, but I kind of went along with it, if that makes sense.
Right.
I think if you go along with it, it's actually quite a fun film.
Right.
Especially when you embrace the silliness. What do you think about the nanny hanging herself? I thought that really left a mark on my mind.
It's really shocking, isn't it? It's quite shocking.
Because I think I saw The Exorcist at the same. I've watched many movies I shouldn't have when I was a kid. I think I saw this and The Exorcist at around the same time.
Right.
And that scene really, really stuck into my head. What do you think of Jerry? Because Jerry Goldsmith won the Oscar for this score.
Yeah.
What do you think of the score of this? Because I think it's one of the best.
I think it's
scores.
good music. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think his score is really good.
Avisanti, is it? Avisanti? The main theme, the.
Oh yes, I think all that dramatic music's really good. As I said, I think if they'd kept the devil stuff a little bit quieter till maybe the last half an hour of the film,
Yeah.
then really pumped up the with all the dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
I think really would have worked. But I think just leading into it straight away and stuff.
Oh
like,
yeah, it
you
kicks
know,
off.
Yeah,
It kicks off
and
really
having
strong,
like the
really
nanny
strong
come
start.
in,
Yeah.
have the nanny
creepy
quieter.
nanny. The creepy nanny,
Yeah,
or
the creepy
the one
nanny.
that hangs.
Yeah, the
herself?
creepy nanny.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
Because we're going to be watching a movie called Hereditary.
We are.
I think Hereditary did it all better, personally.
Yes, I do. I definitely do.
But
yes.
and I do moan about horror films for people who don't like horror films. But I think you could slot this film into that category, correct?
What, for people that don't like? Yes, yeah.
Horror films which.
Yeah, horror films for people that don't like horror films, because
I think you could slot this film into that category. But this is and I do moan because I'm a bit of a horror snob. But I think you could fit that into there. I think any casual viewers could kind of work out.
It's a very mild horror, to be honest.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
some
I
pretty
think
nasty
I think its
sequences.
reputation
the nanny
is,
hanging and the spear, as you
Yeah.
say, and the glass and stuff. I think you could probably.
but it's still tame by today's standards, I think.
Oh, it's very tame.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The nanny hanging is still pretty hardcore. I thought. I say the nanny hanging like the guy literally gets speared.
He does.
It's generally creepy. I feel it's visceral. I feel when you're talking about
I didn't feel it was that creepy. You know, it didn't have the same overwhelming, sort
As
of
Hereditary.
unsettling, ominous.
I think you do. Having the way you explained it has kind of changed my perspective on this film.
Right.
On the basis that you do have to look at it in regards to, because it's made absolutely as, Rosemary Baby was a massive success. Oh, The Exorcist was a massive success. These horror movies like Jaws and things like that are massive success. We need to poo one of these out.
Yeah.
I think you do need to comparatively look at that.
And if
it doesn't hold a candle to those movies.
No.
And I think something like Hereditary and
even like a film like The Witch.
Yes.
The Witch has
The
an
Witch.
overall. I mean, we're going to be talking about that soon. But
I think we need to revise the episode. But
Okay.
we'll talk about that
Right.
after. I think we need to look
like
at
the
a
thing with
different.
the Rosemary's Baby is you
secondary
didn't
movie.
get. You got little glimpses of ominous stuff, but
Yes.
not a lot.
Yeah. He Polanski does it really well.
Yeah, and he did it really well until right at the end, and then I think that's what shocked people in the '60s when they saw it.
Yeah.
Because it was all like, oh well, yeah, there's nothing particularly awful in this film, and then all of a sudden, like, oh no, your whole apartment block is filled of Satanists, and of course, being a Satanist it comes with the fear thing.
Yeah.
Because anything you don't understand, you're going to be frightened of, aren't you?
Yeah. Why is it not a category on Rightmove? Why can I not search for can I not tick the box for Satanists when I'm looking for a new place?
Well, you know where to go, don't you? Bungay in Suffolk.
Bungay in Suffolk
UK.
has just been outed as being full of. I work with a lad
Is he a Satanist?
who is from Bungay,
Right.
and he paints his nails black and all that kind of stuff. I'm just
Are you
dying.
thinking he might be
I'm
Satanist?
dying for the right time to ask. Hey, mate, how do you feel about Satan?
Yeah, but you know how you could say,
What's that?
I've got a friend who paints his nails black too,
Who is a Satanist?
called Jason.
Called Jason.
Yes.
I think it builds up nicely, and I think it ends on a fun stinger. I think
Yeah.
it's a very universal horror film for people who don't like horror movies.
Yeah, definitely.
I honestly, there's so much to enjoy about this. I'm surprised you didn't like it, to be fair. But so be it. Verdict.
What do you mean, stars?
Verdict. What do you think
verdict.
overall?
I think for its time, it probably was scary. Maybe.
Sure. I think it's a classic.
Now it's quite tame.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's quite tame.
Again,
and
there are some resonating aspects of it. As your mum remembered that scene.
yeah, there's some iconic moments.
Yeah.
iconic moments that you.
Sure.
And I think
I wouldn't
also,
say
as I
it's so
said,
dated, though.
going straight into this is the Antichrist straight away.
Yeah.
Takes away all the mystery, all the stuff where Gregory Peck is trying to find the mother and everything, and all the rest of it, and trying to find the priest that told him to take the child.
I think it unravels really nicely. It's a nice little slow burn atmospheric horror.
And the priest obviously gave him that child because the priest knew he was the Antichrist, to give him to somebody, like a politician.
Sure.
Where he knew he'd grow up.
Yeah.
And because he's not just going to give him to a regular family where he might just grow up to be a shopkeeper.
Give him to a family of
what is the Antichrist going to do as a shopkeeper? You know what I mean? He's not going to have any influence on the world as a shopkeeper, is he?
Well, I don't know. Chances are, if you're the Antichrist, you're going to succeed regardless of what your background is.
Well, here's the thing. I always say this about... If there is a devil, right? The devil is not coming to you as an enemy, as a goat, as a nasty thing. He's coming to you as a friend.
You're the devil.
Yeah. He's going to come to you as a friend, or she. If the Antichrist comes along, he or she is going to be very charismatic. They're going to be friendly.
Sympathy for the devil.
Yes, they're not going to be your enemy, because that's not how you make friends and influence people.
You win more bees with honey.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So that's all I'm saying.
Indeed.
And they also said, and also I watched one Jewish man on a documentary about the Holocaust once.
A documentary?
A documentary about the Holocaust, who actually said that he actually thought Hitler might have been the Antichrist because of his influence on the German people.
Sure.
Yeah. And he had a lot of influence over women and men.
Isn't it always the person you least expect?
Yeah.
So it's Tom Hanks.
It could be Keanu Reeves. Wouldn't that be awful?
Oh God, I'd be heartbroken if it turns out
Keanu Reeves comes out in the end. Yeah, but the thing is, you'd still want to be his friend, wouldn't you? You'd still be like, okay, so you're the Antichrist. I don't really care.
If you believe in all this nonsense, and if you do wind up in hell.
Well, I mean, it's just like one of those things.
And it's Keanu, but it could be anybody. If you believe in this sort of stuff, it could be anybody.
Susan Sarandon.
Oh God, can you imagine if it's Susan Sarandon?
Yeah, imagine that.
I actually could. I think she's got a bit of a spiky side.
You think so?
Well, she's got a spiky side.
Yeah.
Hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she has. Yeah, definitely.
Keanu doesn't.
And a very sensual side too, hasn't she? Ooh. She was in Rocky Horror, and
she was in Rocky
She's done
Horror.
some very. I think she did some very risque scenes in Bull Durham with Kevin Costner.
Oh God!
One of the best baseball movies, may I say?
We're not doing. Are we doing? Oh,
God. Should we do baseball movies? Oh, they're so boring. Baseball movies usually, aren't they?
I'm not sure I've seen many baseball movies.
Have you not seen Major League?
Charlie Sheen?
Yeah.
I believe
A League of Their Own.
I've seen a League of Their Own because I remember there's a scene in it where I believe it's Tom Hanks in that, isn't it?
Yes.
He has
Madonna.
He has a wee for about 2 minutes. Do you not remember that?
Oh. 8 Men Out.
Don't believe I've seen it.
With John Cusack.
I don't believe I've seen it. I'm sorry.
No. The Natural.
I've seen
Robert Redford.
I've seen Field of Dreams. I've not seen The Natural. I've seen Field of Dreams. We could do a Kevin Costner baseball double bill with Bull Durham and Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
We could do.
I really don't want to do that.
No.
I would perhaps recommend Rosemary's Baby to this, and maybe the original Amityville Horror, which I think came after this.
I've not seen that. I've seen the remake with old Brian Reynolds in it.
I hate that. It's rubbish.
It was rubbish.
Really recommend the original with Margot Kidder. It's really good. There are 3 sequels. The first of which is probably the best of the bunch. The 2006 remake is not so good.
Right, because I was thinking about watching that, because I was thinking, would that change anything? No, I still think it was just as rubbish.
Oh, it's not worth your time at all. Join us again for Pixaster Part 1.
Pixaster. This is the one, isn't it? This is the one, listeners, that you need to be in on.
Yes.
Because we know that we've put 2 of the greatest things together.
Yes.
We've put together the fantastic new director, Ari Aster, who is knocking it out. With his movies. He's got his black and white duo, Hereditary and Midsummer together.
Sure.
And we're gonna put that with what we've deemed
sugar and spice, isn't it?
Yeah, sugar. That's what it is. It's sugar and spice, or it's a bit of salt and pepper.
Well, I mean,
sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour. That's what we're doing. We're doing sweet and sour.
I like a bit of salt with my sugar. To be honest,
we're putting Pixar films, The Incredibles.
Yeah.
With Midsommar.
So we're going to be watching The Incredibles and Midsommar next.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, we are. And then we're going to have Inside Out with Hereditary.
Yes.
And this will be interesting because I have never seen Inside Out. So.
It's so sweet. It's a really sweet. I mean, The Incredibles is glorious. I don't know. You suggested these episodes. I can't wait to do these episodes. You won't find that double bill being discussed by any other podcast. So
I think whoever's listening to this, you're going to love it. Unless you hate those 4 films that we've mentioned. In which case, you're not going to tune in for next week.
Just alienate our audience.
I'm so sorry.
Don't, but this is great. I'm well up for
Please
this.
forgive me, listeners.
So Incredibles from 2004 and Midsummer from 2019.
Yes. And I need you to know that I've rewatched Midsummer for this.
Yeah. Did you not hate it? Because
I'm going to mention it, but I do not hate this film. I do not hate Midsummer.
This film.
No. I hate the way it makes me feel. I don't hate the film.
I were John. He were...
Jason. And where can we find you, John?
Well, you can find me as Rat Bastard on Letterboxd. How can they find Kerjarellon?
You can find me on Letterboxd as Kerjarellon. Kerja_Relon.
And how is that spelled?
That's KERJA_RELON.
Okay, love you.
Oh, love you, boys.
Lakupiippu.